but you know that usually takes some time. So, Bruce, I'm on a call. Sorry, guys. 1 second. Bruce, what are you doing?
Down the boardwalk.
Bruce, can you leave?
Hey, man! Yeah, man, what's up, man? How you doing, man? Y'all know what time it is?
It's work time. I'm working.
Christmas time.
It's March.
Y'all be good, man. Santa come bring you a saxophone.
Just get the out.
Oh, that's not many,
Damn it. I'm gonna get fired.
Well, you better watch it.
Good morning, sweet world, and welcome to the No Dunks podcast on the Athletic Network. It's Friday, December 20th, 2024. This is The Drop. I'm JD Skeets, back in the Classic Factory, and alongside me, as always, Tas Melis.
Basketball lovers, this one is for you.
Over yonder, making the magic happen, super producer JD.
Hello.
There he is. Here we are, our guy TK, on his way home to Chicago for the holidays. Merry Christmas to him and the Kirby's. I was wondering, you think Steve watches No Dunks when Trey's not on it? His dad? No, I don't think so either. Steve is a sicko. He loves his hoops. But he loves his son more. So let's find out. Steve Kirby, if you're watching without Trey here, drop something in the stream team there. On today's show, we're going to pick our NBA All-Star starters now that voting is officially open.
You love voting.
Oh, I love to vote. I can't vote in the American election, so I gotta vote for an NBA All-Star starter. Tas has a very obvious, very funny though, worst of the week candidate. And we'll end with rapid fire fun before everybody goes on their merry way. We got you going home to Canada. JD, you're driving home tomorrow.
Driving tomorrow.
Whoa.
Yeah.
And you are not driving, I believe, to Jamaica. You're going to be flying.
Probably not.
Okay, good. But first, 13 games on last night. So let's draft some of our favorite results or performances. We've done this before when there's a whole bunch of games. At least allows us to touch on a few of them. Tas, you got the number one pick. Where are you going?
It was truly a fun night to watch basketball, but I'm going with the obvious one to start here. Karl-Anthony Towns going back to Minnesota after leaving this offseason, being traded away just before training camp to the New York Knicks. And what does he do in the first game with the New York Knicks? Well, he smacks his old team, goes for 32 and 20. The start to this game was entirely different than the ending to this game. So before the entire thing starts, Karl-Anthony Towns is introduced last amongst the Knicks starting lineup. Everybody loves him. Everybody cheering for him in Minnesota. And then when the game started, I like what the fans did. No cheering, no booing when Karl-Anthony Towns had the ball. They got to business.
Right.
And the guy that they got for Karl-Anthony Towns, along with DiVincenzo, Julius Randle, was awesome in that first quarter. He went to town, possession after possession, and he was yelling at the Knicks bench himself. It looked like he was trying.
Right. A super revenge game for both guys.
It was, and then it was really weird. It was a 1-point game after the first quarter. So Anthony Edwards, they sat down. Naz Reid sat down as well. At the beginning of the second quarter, the Minnesota Timberwolves looked like they had nobody on the basketball floor. It looked like they were abysmal. I mentioned those guys because they didn't have any offense. Those are the three real offensive guys. But that start at the beginning of the second quarter, Karl-Anthony Towns went to work 37-8 in the first 9 minutes of the second quarter. That's impossible to do. I mean, that was so hard. They were literally just walking to the rim, getting whatever they wanted. So it looked like an entirely different game. Karl-Anthony Towns had 19 points in that second quarter. He was doing whatever. That was the highest quarter for his season. So going against his old team, pretty cool. 30-20 game, first time since 2019. That run there up against Rudy Gobert. I mean, the guy now that he played beside, now he plays against. He's starting at center with the New York Knicks. Gobert was a minus 29 in that second quarter. They just looked like they had no answer. And they truly didn't. And Anthony Edwards was super quiet in this first half. He had 7 points, just 8 shots. The Knicks were doing a great job of running him off the three-point line. That was totally true. But it just looked weird because the Wolves have been playing well. They'd won 6 of their last 7 games coming in, 92 points or fewer allowed in those 6 games. They had the top 4 defense in the NBA so far this season, and then they allowed 133 to this team. That's the most they've allowed all season long. And then the guys just weren't getting back. You saw Julius Randle not getting back. There was boos coming down from the arena after they cheered their guy. Okay, how about our team plays? And really, there's no answer. But everybody was booing, even their new owners who are sort of their new owners but aren't their new owners. Mark Lowry and Alex Rodriguez. I mean, they couldn't even clap. They'd see a basket and they'd kind of, okay, I don't know. What are we buying here? Mikal Bridges, 29, 6, and 6. His last 10 games for the New York Knicks, he looked like a different player. He was doing such a great job defensively. But his last 10 games, 20, 54, and 40, his percentages. Yeah. Pretty damn good. And Edwards after the game, I mean, there's really no answer. I watched this game over and over. I tried to find what the heck was going on. Edwards said, they're not going to like what I say, so I'm just going to keep it to myself. But then he did some talking. We don't have an identity. I'm going to shoot shots. Randall going to shoot some shots. That's all we know. I guess it's just that they don't have an identity. But to come this flat. Yeah. Truly flat. The guys were walking to the rim. So a weird game. But you got to start with Karl-Anthony Towns, 9 years there, goes back. Everybody loved him.
He was a happy boy, wasn't he?
Yeah.
I mean, he comes back, gets that warm ovation. They got the video on the Jumbotron. Like you said, everybody applauding and stuff like that. And then to follow it up with just kicking the snot of the team that traded you. Mm-hmm. And you didn't want to be traded. I mean, you talked about that again. He sort of kept a tight lip, too. Yeah. He, had some other things he wanted to say, but, I'll just keep it to myself as well. But he became the first player, Towns did, in NBA history to post 30-plus points, 20-plus rebounds, and 5 3-pointers while shooting better than 80% from the field in a single game. He didn't miss a three. And he was just cooking, and that's got to feel pretty damn good. Here's the question. It's just one game, but let's play it like that. Did the Knicks win this trade in the training camp when they made this deal? And obviously shipped Randall, shipped DiVincenzo for Karl-Anthony Towns? Is that I think you felt like it at the time because they got the better player, but is it obvious to you now?
Well, it's not obvious. It's one game, obviously. It's up to how the Minnesota Timberwolves recover, and it was going to take them a while, and they still haven't developed into the same team that they were last year. But again, they moved to the top 4 defense. It looked like this team kind of knew what they were doing. Yeah. But to see Rudy Gobert in that second quarter, and I said, minus 29. I mean, that's number one. That's hard to do. Number two, it's all about effort and all about who we are. And I don't know if they just saw their guy, Julius Randle, trying to make a big statement game and then saying, what are we now? I mean, were we your team? I mean, I really don't. They just don't have the vibes. I mean, that's what this game indicated, but I don't think it indicates that they'll never be good.
Well, the problem is, it might look like the Timberwolves broke up a title contender for, let me check, how do you say this guy's name? Financial flexibility. Mm-hmm. I'm not sure where he's from. I don't know if he's Belgium or what, but that's what it appears like it may have happened here, unless they can turn this around. Mm-hmm. And that's what Ant keeps talking about, this identity. I don't know who we are. What are we? Yeah. So that's scary. I saw Ghostface Diller in his newsletter. He wrote, quote, "You don't trade an all-star after the most successful season in 2 decades and get a pass if it does go sideways." Tim Connolly, obviously the GM, the old Wolves ownership, the new Wolves ownership, they don't get passes if this continues along this trajectory. That's fair. That's fair, man. That was the best you'd been in decades last year when you're the Wolves. Mm-hmm. Then you make the deal. Again, a lot of it, I think, for financial flexibility because they were going to be locked in. That was going to be a complication. Maybe the new ownership part of it came into that too. And now they're struggling, while Cat is flourishing on a very good Knicks team. Come on.
I wouldn't go hardcore struggling. I mean, they won 6 of 7 games. They had been the best defense, and now they're top 4 defense, so they're pretty close to what they were last year.
Back to that, fair.
I will say what they factored in, what the whole ledger said. The ledger said, okay, Donte DiVincenzo is going to be really good. He hasn't been anywhere close to that.
He's been horrible.
Yeah. So, I mean, he's not that bad a player. He's a way better player. The second thing is Jane McDaniels has actually started playing better. He hasn't looked like himself. And then Naz Reid, which I think is the key here because he could be the starting power forward, I should say, beside Rudy Gobert. I mean, that
was a big part of hey, they trade Cat, but that's okay. They got Naz Reid to slot in there and take a lot of those shots and a lot of those minutes.
So Randall may not be there forever. I mean, Randall might not be there past this season, but they looked way better the last few weeks. Mm-hmm. I mean, they really did. But I guess they don't have an offensive identity. I think that's totally true. That's where Naz Reid may get more minutes, like he did when Karl-Anthony Towns wasn't having a great game, was in foul trouble or whatever. So I don't know. I mean, the Knicks look fantastic, but they even haven't found their. I mean, this was one night. They haven't found their A-level game. They haven't found their A-level defense yet. Mitch Robinson being part of that.
Yeah.
TBD.
They're just beating teams with pure offense. Because Towns, now Bridges going, and obviously still have Brunson, who had a quiet game. He didn't even need to do a whole lot for this team when you had Cat not being able to miss a shot, and then Bridges probably having his best two-way game of his entire season for the Knicks. So good stuff from them. Cat going home and getting the victory. All right, I got the number 2 pick. Wow. Did we hear that the first time? No. Okay. No. I was like, man, my memory is going. I'm going to go with Anfernee Simons hitting the buzzer-beating layup as the Blazers got a 122-120 victory over the Nuggets. Wild game. Very weird. The Nuggets actually outscored the Blazers by 19 points over the final 11 minutes of the fourth quarter, so a majority of the fourth quarter, but Portland did just enough. They hit some clutch free throws in the final minute. They gave themselves a chance to win this thing after Jokic tied the game with 17 seconds to go, and that's exactly what they did, and they didn't overthink it. They said, let's put the ball in Anfernee Simons' hands, let's run the clock down, let's make sure when we shoot this, Billups talked about it after, whoever shoots it, just shoot it with very little time left, so there's no chance for the Nuggets to steal this in regulation. But Simons waits, he waits. No double comes, which I think even shocked him a little bit, to the point where he's like, okay, I guess I'll just blow by Westbrook here. Jokic, pretty flat-footed, standing in the paint, didn't rotate, didn't really challenge. And then Aaron Gordon staying attached a little too much maybe to Jeremy Grant in the corner, so nobody really helps out Westbrook. And Simons hits, I think, a little more difficult than people are maybe saying. It goes sort of in as a layup, but you gotta have a nice touch on that. That's a high floater sort of off the glass. It's sort of a Simons patented move, if I'm being honest, but kisses it off the glass. Blazers win at the buzzer. And again, he talked about it after. He's like, you're used to getting double teamed there. I kind of expected it, but I saw the one-on-one opportunity, and you got to seize it. And you have to, Russ is in a tough spot a little bit because that guy's got a crazy step-back three. Now, maybe you'd rather live with that than a guy getting to the rim. I get that. And again, some help should come. But a big play from him, a good Blazers win, and another sort of unfortunate Nuggets loss.
Yeah, the Nuggets decided, hey, we're going to really turn on the fourth quarter, which is kind of typical of Denver Nuggets basketball this season. They were down 17 early in the fourth, and they took a lead in the fourth. With a minute left. You could see on one angle of the replay, Nikola Jokic says to Jamal Murray, go help him. Yeah. And he doesn't go anywhere near Russell Westbrook.
And you see Jamal Murray go he's sort of is that the game plan here? Am I going to help Russ?
That was odd.
Or am I not? And he got caught in no man's land, and then Simons went. Yeah.
Simons went, really high off the glass. There were some beautiful plays in basketball last night. I think JJ Redick, if he was at home just watching games, he would have been super happy.
He would have been celebrating?
With the talent level of the NBA. There were some great shots, and Simons, was a delicate off the top of the glass. Now, Jokic didn't challenge it, so I guess that's why people may not care and say, well, there was nobody really there. I mean, there was kind of defense, but there wasn't the big to really challenge the shot. Because Jokic wanted other guys to go help. He asked for Jamal Murray, go. I mean, he's going to tell him, so I don't know why Murray didn't go. The Blazers, good for them. They snap a 6-game streak. Yep. The Denver shot 54% in this game. They should win, but they didn't care enough defensively in this one.
And their depth, I mean, it rears its ugly head in this game again. This is the huge difference with this Nuggets team from the championship year, maybe even last year. That's when Portland took advantage in the second and third quarters. When they go to their other guys, Denver's forced to, like any team, you got to play some other guys besides your main five guys. And that's sort of when Portland really sort of took control. I know the Nuggets got back into it. That's a lot of the starters doing the heavy lifting. But they got to address this. I know there's Zach LaVine trade rumors. There's other rumors that the Nuggets maybe need to be active here if they want to sort of stay in that title contention, because this squad currently as constructed doesn't feel like it.
No.
And I know, it's a loss to the Blazers. That's a scrappy win. They needed it, like you said, but still, it's a pattern so many times this year where obviously Jokic's off the floor, they get killed, or they're down early and they got to claw their way back. It feels like they haven't had an easy win. Even in any victory, doesn't feel like an easy win.
Right. Yeah, the Julian Strawther minutes were not good. The Christian Brown and Julian Strawther combo didn't work out. And so the depth, was rearing its ugly head. Although there were a lot of odd losses yesterday. I don't know if it's this NBA Cup.
It's a weird week.
Yeah, there's probably just teams not used to the schedule, the routine of things.
Oh, these guys are routine monsters for sure. They are used to doing the same thing day in and day out. And so, suddenly you have maybe 3 or 4 days off. Throws everything out of whack.
Yes.
Holidays, maybe they're shopping, who knows.
Celtics losing to the Bulls, Suns losing to the Pacers. It goes on and on and on. But there's some great plays. And I will say one great feature of the Blazers broadcast during this game is that they put up the on-court lineups. You don't see that often enough. They just flip up the 5 guys on the floor for each team.
That's nice.
Here's who's on the floor for the Blazers. Take a sec. Then they flip over who's up on for the Nuggets. Yeah, I want to know Julian Strawther. I want to see his hair. Like, I want to know who's on. Mm-hmm. It's a nice feature. It's smart. Other teams should do it.
And to give the Blazers a little love here, because we haven't talked about them a lot this season because it's been a bit of a wash.
Yeah.
Simons and Sharp, it's nice to see them having good games at the same time. They combined for 55 points. That's good if that is going to be their backcourt of the future here. We're still, the jury's still out on that one. Toumani Camara, awesome game. That guy is all over the floor, picked up a couple charges. He applies a lot of defensive pressure. He chipped in offensively. And then Avdia coming off the bench, 19 points, hit 3 threes. That's another guy that brings intensity. I know even the bigs in Time Lord and Klingon, they played their part in this game. So it was just a good quality win here from Portland to snap that streak.
Yeah, it's the Kamara thing. I know I've said before, he's the Matisse Thybulle that they've always wanted. That guy can play D. And maybe it's a little blessing that Thybulle's hurt and he's starting and playing really well. He's weird that Avdia, who they traded for, is coming off the bench. But it works.
Yeah. All right, you have the 3rd pick overall in drafting last night's games. Where are you going?
I begin it with a laugh because it is wild what happened. The Grizzlies beat the Warriors by 51 points. That's astonishing. And what made it really, really juicy is that Grizzlies had lots of things to play for in this game. They lost to the Warriors earlier in the season, and that's when our guy, known podcaster, Draymond Green, left the floor and basically called Grizzlies head coach Janky Tyler Jenkins. He called him Jakey. Why would you do that, man? I mean, because Zach Edey had a bit of a problem on the floor where Draymond Green kind of tripped him. There was no call. So Tyler Jenkins went to the media and said, what's up with that?
Right.
What up with that? So there was that. And then Dennis Schröder, who's now on the Golden State Warriors, just got traded there. In his last game with the Brooklyn Nets, he went up to Tyler Jenkins at the end of that game. He went and got in his face. So in this game, his team had something to play for. And man, did they play. Dennis Schröder, speaking of him, John Morant guarding him earlier in the game about at center court, stood him up. Big stop, steals the ball from him, lands on his ass, makes a great pass from his ass, and is able to get up and beat Dennis Schröder down the floor for a layup. I mean, that was awesome. And then Jalen Wells was so good front guarding Steph Curry. He was doing a really good job at just chasing him all around the floor. John Morant also doing that, unless he had to go block Draymond Green, because he had a recovery block on Draymond Green. Oh, my goodness. So, and even Draymond Green went at Zach Edey, who he not only called a bit soft when I mentioned that Tyler Jenkins story about the Zach Edey scenario, where he's saying, Draymond Green basically said, hey, Zach Edey, you're tough. You're a big guy. Why is your coach going to fight for you?
Yeah,
so
he was basically like Jenkins and some of these coaches are breeding soft players in these big guys with all this whining and complaining. That was Draymond's take on that podcast clip with Ben Davis.
Yeah, and I didn't want to play it because number one, what's the point? Number two, you got a good podcast here. You don't need to go listen to Draymond. but I mentioned, Steph Curry and Draymond Green, in the end, because of that defense, hit 0 shots combined. 0 for the first time since they started playing basketball together. They have a game where they each hit none. Oh, that's hard.
Less surprising with Draymond Green hitting 0 shots. Very surprising Steph Curry going 0 for 7 from the floor in about 24 minutes because it turned into a blowout. So he obviously sat the last part. But first time he's ever played more than 12 minutes in a game and didn't make a field goal. This just doesn't happen when he plays enough minutes in a game. So wild.
This part surprising from the Draymond Green line. Points? Okay, it doesn't matter. But 0.0 rebounds, 0 assists. 4 turnovers, 4 personal fouls, a minus 42. That's a little surprising. Those are the other parts of that line. And then the Memphis Grizzlies to prove that they got their revenge, they played whoop that trick. There was a whoop that trick for the first time this season. They often played it last year.
Yeah. Well, they saved it for this, did they?
The hustle and flow. But yeah, it's fun to listen to. Draymond Green, famously before, he used to have a good time to it. He used to wave the towel, but when they played it this time, he kind of bobbed his head a little bit, but he was not standing up in front of the bench having a good time because they got whooped. They truly did. 51 points. I know. Maybe you'd think, okay, why are you drafting these blowouts? Why are you talking about these blowouts in the Wolves, Knicks, and then this one? I mean, that was fun for the Grizzlies in every single way, and I love the way they were playing hard. Again, Jalen Wells being able to front Steph Curry, front guard him, that's cool.
Exhausting.
It's exhausting, exactly. And one team that can do it are the Grizzlies because they go so deep. They go extremely deep on their bench and play like 11 guys, and John Morant playing the fewest minutes of his career for this reason, to go extremely hard. Like Morant stood up Schröder. It was a beautiful stuff. Great win.
Everybody hitting threes for the Grizzlies last night too. 27 for 48 as a team. Aldama hit 5. LaRavia hit 4. Kennard hit 5. Those guys are all coming off the bench. What did I just say? 14 three-pointers off the bench, or even more than that from a couple other guys. So, yeah, everybody feeling it. And I think you're right. There was a part of them like, okay, all this Draymond talk about our coach. Then maybe the little Schröder thing with him getting into it with Jenkins recently, and now he's on the Warriors. They were fired up for this game and delivered. But really weird to see Steph Curry with the offer on made field goal. That's just very, very odd.
And I love physically Zach Edey was confronted by Draymond Green, and Zach Edey just dealt with it. No problem. Yeah. You just swallowed it and just kept going. And physically, Draymond Green tried. He tried to probe him. Nothing happened.
Yeah, because he even said it on his podcast. He's like, "Oh, that's what's going to happen now." He was like, he could have said guys like me, but he was like, Joel Embiid, they're going to test Edey. Okay, he's a monster, but is he a big man? Does he have that? So, you're going to throw a bow into him and see how he reacts. Does he cower or does he stand up to it? And I think you're right. I don't even think he knows the guy's even hitting him probably at that size. But good win from the Grizzlies. This does feel like a lifetime ago, but we never talked about it really because we were traveling for the NBA Cup. The Warriors acquired Dennis Schröder last week. In return, the Nets received De'Anthony Melton, who is out for the season due to an ACL injury, guard Reese Beekman, and then 3 future second-round draft picks. The Warriors also got a 2025 second-round pick back. So do you have any thoughts, and what do you even think of Schröder there playing for the Warriors? Didn't have a good game in a blowout and shot poorly. I think he was 2 for 12. But of the trade in general, and do you think this is even setting up for another Warriors move?
Yeah, I think it possibly could set something up. But this is sort of insurance, just in case they can't go get an A-list type of player, just in case. And it's really, really interesting. There's a little tweak in the CBA. If you make a trade before December 16th or prior, you can still trade that player later on. That's a new thing, and that's John Hollinger. Thanks for pointing that out because Bryant Toporek pointed it out first. But that's a really interesting thing, and I do think Dennis Schröder could be part of another deal, or they're looking for somebody better. Now, Dennis Schröder, I think, will help them immediately because the Steph Curry minutes on the bench are horrible. They are very bad for this team. They're 15 points per 100 possessions worse when Steph Curry sits. So I think Dennis Schröder will be running the second unit.
Right. That's been a primary weakness, is backup ball handling and maybe scoring and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Especially with Podziemski not really developing as maybe anticipated. Yeah.
Pods has not been the guy he was in year one. They even had Chris Paul last year to be the backup point guard. Now, I don't know if Schröder's going to start and then just take those Steph stints where he's sitting on the floor. New thing for Steph. Usually he sits like a one long stretch in each half, but now he's sitting 2 in each half. So first quarter, second quarter, third quarter, fourth quarter, doing these little short stints. I think Dennis Schröder will be the backup guard because he runs teams and he does the pick and roll extremely well, so that makes sense. But he also has played, with LeBron and Anthony Davis, so off the ball and that type of thing, where he's not the primary guy, and he's played extremely well with that. So I think it should be the best version of Dennis Schröder we've ever seen. I think, he's played for a billion teams. He's gone through.
He's done the rainbow.
He's gone through the roller coaster. Yeah, that's fun.
The Shaq jersey rainbow.
The Shaq jersey rainbow. But I do think he's grown. We've seen him with Team Germany. Obviously, he plays awesome there, and he can't be that type of player here with the ball in his hands as much. But I think he's played enough scenarios where he's good enough at that, and defensively, he's a damn good player.
And do you think the Nets traded him because he was helping them win too many games this season? And so they were leaning into obviously being worse, maybe even showcasing Cam Johnson even more here?
Oh, yeah.
Who had an awesome game against our Raps
Oh,
and
my God.
cooked them down the stretch. Now, I don't know if he's part of their long-term plans, but his name is popping up in a lot of trade discussions. He's a guy that you could slot on so many teams. And if he continues to play like that, you're only going to get more back in theory for a guy like him. So maybe it's all part of the plan here. But yeah, that's the Warriors-Nets trade. We finally talked about it. Happened last Sunday.
Yeah, I feel terribly horrible for Jordy Fernandez as their head coach. They started 9-10, and their over-under number prior to the season for wins was 19.5.
Oh, yeah.
They were going to crush 19.5 easily.
Yeah.
But they've dropped off since. Now they're 11-16 since beating the Raptors, and what a horrible game that was.
Don't worry, we're not drafting that one.
No, that won't be drafted. That was painful. And I'm wearing the jacket because I saw their throwback court, and it all looked good.
Yeah, it does.
And it all started good. Scotty Barnes makes his return. Just missed 10 days.
You were right.
That was great.
I had to take the L on that one. I was like, I don't think we'll see him to the new year.
He came
Suddenly
back.
he was back.
Yeah, but other guys are hurt now.
Yeah, exactly.
They're missing 3
It's a
starters.
revolving door, man.
They're missing 3 stars, and that was bad. So Cam Johnson did light them up at the end, but I don't get the defense from Rakovic there. Why not take out Cam Johnson?
And let somebody else beat you.
Yeah. I mean, that was an odd for Darko Rakovic to do. It just wasn't right.
All right, let's get back into drafting here. I got the number 4 pick overall. And I'm going to go with the Thunder holding off Orlando's comeback to beat the Magic 105-99. Here is why. And I've brought this up many times before in the podcast. But to me, the definition of a really, truly great team, like a title contender, and in addition to being like an MVP candidate, like a lead dog, is how do you rebound from a loss? And a bad loss at that. The best teams and the best players, they bounce back immediately, they forget about it, and they kick ass. And that's what happened in this game. Now, Orlando made it a little closer than probably OKC would have liked, but Shea out of the gate cooking the Magic. Thunder up huge at the half. Again, this game got a little close. You had J-Dub sort of going on a little mini 6-point run of his own in that stretch in the fourth quarter to get the victory. But I just love this type of quality win after that abysmal performance in the championship game in Vegas that we were there for the Cup. Nobody could score. They sort of got embarrassed, could never get into that game against Milwaukee. And what happens? They have a tough little 2-game road trip here in Florida, the old back-to-back. Last night in Orlando, tonight in Miami, and they take care of business in the first one. That's just a quality win and just like reiterates to me like, oh yeah, this feels like the team to beat in the Western Conference. And Chet might be coming back pretty damn soon too. So I just wanted to show it a little love. I don't think we have to talk about it a ton, but I thought that's a nice bounce back win.
Absolutely. We were in Las Vegas, and Shea started off that game fine. He was 4 of 9 in the first quarter, so it was a 1-point game after that first quarter. And then Shea can get open whenever he wants. And so when the Bucks made their run in the third quarter, I was waiting for Shea to do it. But he just couldn't find the bottom of the net. He just truly couldn't. So to see them do this in the fourth quarter was great because this ended up being a close game in the fourth quarter.
It did.
Obviously, Orlando is the underdog number 1 because it's OKC, but because they're missing Paulo Banchero and Franz Wagner.
Yes.
And then Jalen Suggs, their guy, goes out in the third quarter.
Yes.
He turned his ankle in the first half, and then he kind of tweaked it in the third quarter, and he was debating with Jamal Mosley. I mean, I don't want to leave the game, but he tweaked it, so he got yanked. He kind of complained to his coach. But then I was so surprised by Anthony Black was awesome. I mean, he came in for Jalen Suggs and was so good. He had 19 points in the second half. He was getting shots however he wanted. I didn't think Anthony Black, as a 20-year-old kid, really had the hey, bump, give me some space and score.
He's a bigger dude than you sort of think.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Right? Like size-wise,
Yeah.
height-wise, and if he can add some weight to that as well, to that
Yeah.
frame, he'll be a dangerous player. Because even he gets matched up on SGA a couple times, like, oh yeah, he's taller than him.
Yeah.
And SGA is a pretty lengthy guard, right?
Yeah.
For a point guard. So.
Yeah, he is a big guy. That's a good point. I mean, he was driving to get floaters. He had a step-back 3. I just didn't think he had it in this game. Step back three from the top. Usually he's a corner three type of guy off the ball, but he's evolving, and that's why they counted on him.
So this might be one of those weird little blessing in disguise, possibly.
Yeah.
With Paolo out, then Franz out, and like other guys have to step up for Orlando. Maybe that pays off in a postseason run, right?
Yeah.
Where Anthony Black has more experience, some more confidence, and then can contribute, in the margins, I should say.
Yeah, he did. They were down 23 early in the third quarter when Jalen Suggs goes out, and they make it a 3-point game when Anthony Black hits that step back in the fourth quarter. But then the team that you expect to look like a championship team, we're waiting for it.
Yeah.
All as fans here to see OKC do that, and they did. They tore them apart in the fourth quarter.
And if they can do it again, like I said, in a back-to-back tonight in Miami, damn. That'd be very impressive. After that weird week of cup play and all that, sort of getting embarrassed in the championship game to then follow it up with like 2 quality wins in Florida, which isn't going to be easy. That's very difficult. That'd be legit. All right, one more round. Let's do one more round. You got the 5th pick overall. What are you taking?
I am taking the San Antonio Spurs winning in overtime against the Atlanta Hawks. Now you might say, there were so many plays in this game that I thought were beautiful things. And maybe it goes under the radar because there was 13 games and it doesn't hit just the top 3 awesome games. But, man, Victor Wembanyama was doing whatever he wanted. He was pulling up from 3 from 29 feet. It was a monstrous shot early in this game. He had 7 of 15 from 3. So he can do that. He can shoot from everywhere.
It's becoming more and more common.
Yeah.
His stat lines.
Yeah.
It's a lot of threes and a lot of attempts, but you hit basically 50%. You'll live with that.
Yeah. And he's got a variety of plays. The dude went off the backboard to himself. He threw it off the backboard to go get it in the third quarter. He threw an alley-oop to his other young guy on his team, to Stephon Castle. He threw an alley-oop to Jeremy Sohan and his green hair.
Yep.
And he did it all. He was the leading the passes on those plays.
He even got dunked on.
Yeah, he even got
at the end of regulation, and then it was like, don't worry, I got this in overtime.
Yeah, it was so good. I mean, he had 42 points, 6 boards, 5 assists, 4 blocks. What a stat line. Couldn't get to the 5x5. Steals is the toughest part. Trey did say that. I thought maybe it was somewhere else. The assist will be there for sure because the plays go through him. But anyway, yeah, you mentioned he got dunked on. But I said there's so many good plays. Just to take you through a few of them. In regulation, about a minute left, Trae Young hit a 31-foot pull-up. That was off the freaking logo. That was a far shot in that beautiful San Antonio throwback floor. And then Chris Paul on the other end hit a 3 and 1. I mean, this guy's old. He's double the age of some like Stephon Castle and Wemby, the guys I mentioned. So the Hawks were down 2. They inbound the ball. So it's like close to the 3-point line where the ball is. And then DeAndre Hunter comes flying from the backcourt. It was a great play call because he looks like he's just in the backcourt. Usually the guy who's in the backcourt comes and gets the inbound pass, but this one was inbounded, and that passer's waiting. DeAndre Hunter comes and gets it, goes directly to the hoop, and ducks on Victor Wembanyama. That was gorgeous. It was
challenged. I mean, of course he's going to challenge.
Yeah. And he talked a little junk to him.
Yeah. Almost. I thought for a second, because we've seen officials like hand out a tech for like the stare down, sort of the standover, right?
Well, they got it. They got a tech. Both got a tech.
They both got a tech, though. But my point is, that could have been a just Hunter. I mean, if anything, that's what it would have been.
Yeah,
in my opinion. I'm glad they didn't.
I thought so.
Yeah. I meant more that, and that could have been obviously a game-deciding tech.
So they tied it up. They go to overtime, and it was the Chris Paul and Wemby show. Pick and roll, and it worked beautifully.
Yep.
They get the win. Devin Vassell off the ball was great. Playing off those 5 threes for him. So just a fantastic game. Period. On a beautiful floor because it is that throw.
You like that court?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah. I think it's the Alamo Dome. Like it looks good.
It's unique. It's unique. And now the Spurs, I'm just double checking to make sure I have it right. They are 14-13 here through 27 games. Now that still has you in 11th place in the Western Conference because that's how just tight it is, but I did not think they'd be a plus 500 team at like sort of getting this far into the season, like obviously well past the quarter mark. That's damn good. And Wemby is just getting better and better, and it's getting scarier and scarier here.
Yeah, absolutely. And we'll talk about all-stars and who should start, and we'll get to Victor Wembanyama. Absolutely got a case. And I do want to just quickly, the Hawks didn't have Onyeka Okongwu, not to give them excuses, but they have depth problems when those guys are out. And then Kobe Buffkin is now out for the entire season as a backup point guard. So those are two backups that we always give the Hawks bench credit, because Bogdan Bogdanovic and DeAndre Hunter, who could be sixth man of the year. But those two injuries, they hurt. I mean, they do hurt their depth, period. And now in the Eastern Conference, they're at 500, which is what everybody expects of the Atlanta Hawks at all times. Mm-hmm. But we'll see what they do here at the trade deadline.
All right, with the sixth and final pick, I obviously have a ton to pick from, but I'm going to do this as a little Christmas gift to Trey Kirby. I'm going to take Zach LaVine scoring a season high 36 points. That caught me by surprise. Season high for Zach LaVine with 36 to help the Bulls hold off the Celtics 117-108. Chicago outscored Boston 35-22 in the fourth. They made a whole bunch of three-pointers in this game. That's going to be how you have to beat Boston. They're going to have to sort of have a cold night from three, and you're going to have to hit a majority. They did that. Zach LaVine was a monster in this game. He had some nice finishes at the rim, but man, most of his makes all felt and looked exactly the same. Off the dribble to his right, on the right side of the floor. That is his spot, and he gets that little lean going. And this guy, when he's cooking, man, he's tough to stop. He's sort of, he reminds me a lot like of Booker. Like, those guys are just tough to shut off when they see a couple go through from deep. And he just kept hitting big shots. Like, you saw Derek White, who's one of the best perimeter defenders in the game. There was frustration. He was like, I don't know what to do to stop that. I'm like all over him. Really good defense, better O. Definition of that, just great shot making. Chicago's big fourth quarter was also helped by 3 technical fouls on the Celtics. That's one of the storylines coming out of this game. We had Ayo Dosunmu and Peyton Pritchard and Jaylen Brown. They were all chasing down a loose ball. Jump ball was called in this scrum, and Boston was pissed off that it wasn't Jaylen Brown jumping. And instead they're saying, no, that's Pritchard versus Ayo. And Jaylen Brown's like, what? So this is where Joe Mazzulla and Jaylen Brown both got technical fouls for arguing that. Then Tatum, soon after, he got another tech. He committed a foul on Kobe White, and that was 3 right there. And then Mazzulla's frustrations continued after the game. Did you see what he said?
Yeah.
First off, he had to be restrained by 2 of his assistant coaches. Like, he really wanted to go at Justin Van Duyn. Really wanted at him. So they held him back. But then after the game, they're like, hey, what was your message that you wanted to deliver to Justin, to the official? He said, quote, this is Joe Mazzulla, just so deadpanned. I hadn't seen him in a while. So just a Merry Christmas and a Happy Holiday. Can't let a moment go by where you don't wish the best to them and theirs. An absolute psychopath, this guy, in the best way. He's hilarious. Jaylen Brown was a little more direct. He just called it bullshit. So they were pissed off. They thought the officials bothered them a little bit. And, it was on a night where they were struggling to score. But, yeah, I don't know if you have any thoughts on how Joe Mazzulla, what he said he was going to say to Justin, and how they reacted in this game.
Yeah, Mazzulla is hilarious, and how he's just locked in on what he's going to say in the press conference. He knows what he's going to say. So he said, yeah. To you and yours, the best. That was very funny. Although Jaylen Brown said, I wanted to go talk to him about that, that incident with Joe Mazzulla. And apparently Mr. Van Duyn said, well, if you keep talking, you're going to get a tech. So he was upset with being threatened for for just coming up to the official and confronting him. Like the captain of the team he should be able to do that. So he was upset with that. But it's, as we said, it's been a weird week. It's been a terrible week. His mom's house was broken into this past week in Jaylen Brown. His mom, yeah. So there's some weird stuff going on.
Fired up here.
And then Tatum, as you said, a lot of techs in that game. Weird stuff.
And it wasn't the difference maker, obviously. The Bulls did have a pretty dominant fourth quarter, and it was just incredible shot making. But they were a little frazzled. I thought the Celtics were there, and it obviously continued after the game and into the post game press conference. But Bulls with a really quality win. Do their fans want it? I can't tell anymore. I definitely saw some Bulls fans, even in the stream team before we went live, going, what the hell are we doing? Why are we winning these games? And then the final thing, we're done drafting games, but did you see Keyonte George's dunk on Jalen Duren? It was a monster, and the dunk score said it was. For once, they got it right. A 109.2 dunk score. The 4th best dunk of the season goes John Collins, Jalen Green, Jalen Brown, and now Keyonte George, if we're going solely by dunk score. But that was a monster.
Oh, that was
And
gorgeous.
he took off for so far away. He's a little guy on a big guy.
Yeah.
Emphatic.
Duran's trying to block the snot out of that.
Yeah.
It was great.
Now, incredibly, Hunter's dunk on Wembanyama it wasn't even in the top 5. How is that possible?
That doesn't make sense.
He took off far.
Yeah.
He yammed it on him.
Yeah.
I know it doesn't matter the score of the game. It should maybe a little bit, but like, what? That's really weird.
really
Koulibaly had a good alley-oop. He soared for one, but like, Hunter's was on Wemby.
Yeah. Wemby didn't go at it as high as he possibly could.
No.
But who cares? He tried to. I thought a random, very, very random play. It's not even a play, but Indiana winning 1 in Phoenix. Devin Booker left. That sucks.
Yeah.
Groin tightness. But one thing that Obi Toppin did, because there was a ball stuck on top of the backboard, not directly on top of the backboard, but sort of on a bar that's right behind the backboard. So it's just a little bit lower than the actual top of the backboard. Just a little bit lower. And he went and got it with his hand.
Second time he's done this.
Well, has he done it earlier?
He did it earlier this year.
Wow.
He's gone up and got that ball, which I think people say is about, I want to say it's like 14 and a half feet high, that bar. It's
that
high,
high?
dude.
I think that's a lie.
You think it's 4? You don't think it's 4 feet higher than the rim?
rim?
It's pretty high, man.
Yeah, I mean, it's close to the top
And he
of the
just
backboard.
gets it. Like, he tips it with his fingers. That's not
14
that crazy.
feet. I guess not.
Some of these guys can
That-
probably touch the top of the backboard.
Yeah, that guy has been in dunk contests. He's an amazing athlete.
But second time he's done it.
Oh,
It's like his skill now.
Wow.
He's like, I don't need your mop. I don't need that. I got this. Watch this. I
That
can
is
do those.
very, very cool. Let's make that a video.
No, we can't. Everybody's on vacation.
Yeah.
Everybody's on Christmas break. Thought about it too. Tasman was like,
Yeah.
no, Esh is gone. He's leaving. You're
Yeah,
out of here.
yeah.
Trey's already gone. Just me trying to figure it out.
I know.
Take me all break. By the time I did it, he would have done it a third time, I'm sure.
I can knock it out for you.
Okay, relax.
People are throwing it. There's that. People are throwing it off the backboard more. Actually, when we were gone, there was a couple.
like to themselves, you mean?
Yeah, well, there was Rob Dillingham to Josh Minot of the Timberwolves. So that was on a break to another guy. But still, people are doing it. Like, people are using the glass again.
Hey,
Hey.
I've always said it's your 6th offensive player out there. They should use it more creatively. Wemby, especially with his height.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
He did it. He threw it off the glass.
Well, I know.
It's not making its way around. People are too busy watching other stuff.
That's true.
Yeah.
All right, let's get into this news. The league announced its new All-Star Game format. This was on Tuesday, so a few days ago, which will have the 24 All-Stars chosen, divided into 3 teams of 8 players. A 4th team will also compete. That'll be the winning team from the Rising Stars Challenge, which follows a similar mini tournament style, and that's what the NBA All-Stars are going to do here. We're going to have 4 teams. They're going to play up to 40 points in each of these games. On the Sunday, the 2 winning teams will advance, and they will play in the finals. The 3 All-Star teams will be drafted by NBA on TNT analysts Shaq, Chuck, and Kenny. I guess Candace Parker will be the GM of the 4th team, the Rising Stars winner, I guess. Draft will take place on February 6th. We knew this was coming. We sort of debated it already. I'm not convinced it does much of anything, except maybe give us 3 crappy All-Star games now instead of 1. You disagreed with me, and you thought, hey, why not? Try something. I assume that's your same opinion on this, and do you like the wrinkle of these guys drafting teams too?
I think it'll be fine. I need to wait to see, but I will say it's going to be shorter to play 3 games up to 40 points. I mean, you're basically going to see 120 points. Like, it's not going to be a high amount. It's not going to be, because it's these 3 games up to 40 points, they end then.
Well, if it's like a normal All-Star game, it'll be quick games.
Yeah, they'll be fairly quick.
It'll be over in like 6 minutes.
Yeah.
All right, game 2, let's go.
Yeah, the weird thing is that they're untimed. There will be no clock.
No.
They're just going to go, hey, these 2 teams, so 16 All-Stars, you play each other till 40 points. All right, you step off. Now, the other one plays the Rising Stars. The 2 winners will play up to 40 points. I think just because they stop and we get some sort of off-court, like off-play whatever you want to call it, production of the drafts and guys talking trash. I mean, that should be fun. More so, I like it. It's going to be far less
Time consuming is what you're saying.
Well,
that's the only thing you're selling me on is like, well, at least it'll be shorter, and maybe that's a positive.
Yeah, because if the basketball has no defense in it,
Yeah.
there's going to be less basketball. There's going to be less of those painful moments, and there'll be some actual production of these guys and their personalities, which they are very charismatic, and they'll be fun. And these are the best freaking players on world. I do like the goal of reaching 40 points, and these guys playing something like they have something to play for, because they're going to be like, okay, we just got to get 20 baskets. Like, we're going to play a little bit harder because we know this game is going to end quicker. And I think that's the idea.
But will they play defense?
Well, that's the whole point.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got to play for like 5 possessions. And listen, that the good old days was like 6 minutes of defense. It wasn't all that much. It
Right,
really
so
wasn't.
they're hoping, okay, those the good old days where we got 5 or 6 minutes of actual competitive defense in an All-Star game. Well, if we just make the game to 40 minutes, maybe they'll play some defense. That's what they're praying.
Yeah, to 40 points, yeah.
I'm not as convinced because the new format doesn't mean a thing unless players decide they actually want to compete in this and give it a little bit of a go and make it a little bit more like a real basketball game. Kevin Durant, he hates it. Quote, I hate it. I absolutely hate it. Terrible. All-star game format changing. All the formats. They're just terrible in my opinion. We should go back to East-West. Just play a game. I think we've been trying to bring that flair back somehow with All-Star Weekend. I think we just keep the tradition.
Yeah.
End quote. That was KD.
Oh, he did go on to say, I could be wrong. I mean, I could be wrong.
Could be wrong.
You did hate it, though. And even LeBron didn't seem to like it either.
No. That's worrisome.
Yeah, just a little bit. Yeah, because when you're
If they're
one
both
of your
there.
leaders.
Yeah. I also do, I don't know. I guess the hope is, the Rising Stars team is there. Man, we can't lose to those guys. This is what the All-Stars, I guess, in theory are thinking.
Sure.
Like, that would be embarrassing, so maybe they compete. But won't it be very weird if the Rising Stars team maybe led by a Wembanyama? Mm-hmm. Maybe not. Maybe he'll be an actual All-Star. I don't know how that'll work.
Yeah, that's a weird one.
Will he play on Friday night? Will he just play on Sunday? I assume he would just play on Sunday. If they go on to win this thing, oh boy.
Yeah.
you can hear the pundits now clowning these All-Stars. And they're, we don't care. It's an exhibition. Oh boy. I don't think that will happen, by the way, but I guess it could.
So, that should produce a little bit of hunger from the actual All-Stars because they don't want to lose to those dudes. And it is odd when you think about it. I just had to make sure. It is the 24 All-Stars, like conventional 12 selected from each half.
Yes.
Then you'll get 3 teams of 8, plus
That'll
that
be the
Rising
draft.
Stars team.
Yep.
So, none of the old, it's changing the record books and there's more All-Stars or fewer All-Stars. It's the exact same. So that's positive. TBD. I think they will play hard for a minute, 2, 3, and that's all you want. That's all you want. And like the other idea, what you said was, go NFL, play dodgeball
Just go
or
nuts
whatever.
with it. Yeah.
And I think they
honestly just get rid of it is what we're getting at.
Yeah. Well, I think they do have the opportunity to screw around a little bit more. Like there will be some personality. We're on the mic here. We're gonna draft, and so there's. I think in a weird way, it is tweaked a little bit where you do see some random.
But this is a draft
moments.
that's taking place before the All-Star weekend. This is one of those. It's not happening on the floor. Like we tried that too, and it unfortunately didn't really result in fireworks.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, that part's true.
We'll see. It's TBD. It will come down to just like your Currys and your LeBrons and like your leaders, obviously, sort of locking in and saying, okay, enough is enough. But we've thought that for years now, so I've like given up all hope. I think they should literally just like take a year or two off. It worked with the dunk contest. I remember we were just like, man, the dunk contest sucks, and they were like, okay, we're not going to do it. And then when it returned, thank God we had Vince, of course. It was like, oh man, it's back. I mean, if none of this works, then maybe we need to like forget it for a year or two, or just do something completely silly and something completely different. And then you know what? Give it a couple years, people are gonna be like, "Oh yeah, I missed the All-Star game. East versus West." I think that's
possible.
I mean, I'm a little tongue in cheek, but I think there's some truth to it as well. But let's talk about the actual All-Star game voting for the starters. Have you filled out a ballot yet?
Absolutely.
Okay.
I loved clicking.
Yeah. Did you like the interface? Did you do it on your app or on your desktop?
I did it on the old computer.
Okay. Yeah, as did I. I thought it was a nice nice little feature this year, how you picked your teams. I thought it looked cleaner than years prior.
Yeah.
With the photos and stuff. But anyway, let's talk through our starters. I think the East is a little easier than the West. But tell me your 2 guards and then your 3 front court players for the Eastern Conference All-Star starters.
Well, I did think that the backcourt was a little difficult in that you want Cleveland Cavaliers on there. There's no doubt. They're going to have the best record, most likely. So I thought the front court was easier.
Okay, go give me your East front court.
Giannis, obviously.
Yep.
Karl-Anthony Towns is starting, baby.
That is a no-brainer at this point.
Yeah, at this point, for sure. I mean, he's starting over Jalen Brunson, which is a little bonkers. For me, anyways. Brunson not starting for me. But Tatum rounds out the forwards for me.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes, I think most people would agree with Giannis, Kat, and Tatum as your 3 front court guys.
Yeah.
In the East.
Yeah. So it is odd. Jalen Brown and Brunson not going to be there in the starting lineups because Donovan Mitchell is starting my backcourt.
Okay, that's a lock.
Yeah.
Donovan Mitchell.
It's the second spot. Yeah. What do you feel? I'm putting Dame there, which is odd. It's odd.
Dame over
So $2.
Dame over Brunson is tough for me.
Yeah, that's fine. I'm fine with Brunson.
I think
I'm totally fine with
I think Brunson a little more efficient, plays for the better team. There's that part of the equation. Now, like Brunson on some nights is the number 1 option. I know it's Kat some nights as well, but it feels more than Giannis as the sort of like clear-cut number 1 option for the Bucks, where Dame is like more slotted into 2.
Yeah.
So I went Brunson, Donovan Mitchell, then Tatum, Giannis, and Kat.
Yeah.
But I went back and forth.
I may regret the Dame at this point. Brunson is the guy who runs the show in New York. Like he runs the team. He makes sure everything goes right. His points have dropped off since last year when he was the guy and the solo guy, and he didn't have to work through Towns and Bridges. So, yeah, I guess people will just say, "Oh, Towns," but it is interesting. Yeah, Brunson and yeah, again, like the Celtics are damn good, but they're only going to get 1 starter probably.
Yeah, but Jaylen Brown will be there.
He'll be there.
And then there will be probably a couple other Cavaliers on the roster, but maybe not starting. Like if we get into Mobley, possibly Garland, stuff like that.
Yeah. It's odd here with the East because there's so many good teams. I think you could have 2 guys from like 3 teams, like Tatum and Brown, Brunson and Towns, and Dame and Giannis.
Oh, yeah.
So that's half your team.
It's true.
Right there, most likely. And then, depending.
Garland and then the Cavaliers.
Yeah, Mobley, hello.
So,
they want to be there.
So you're basically getting at the Eastern Conference could be consist of almost 4 teams, like 80% of it.
Yeah, and obviously Banchero being hurt stinks.
And
Franz being hurt stinks because they could have easily got there. And the trade discussion begins, whether Trae Young gets there. But anyway.
Okay, let's go to the Western Conference. Who gets your votes for the starters? Because I thought this one much more difficult, especially
hard.
in the front court.
What are you going to do?
Because the backcourt, did you just not overthink it and went SGA and Luka?
I did.
Yeah, and some people get cute and they try and put Luka as a forward and all that, but he is listed as a guard. He is a point guard on the team. I know he plays with Kyrie. But, okay, SGA and Luka are the guards now.
Yeah, now fans voted Steph in last year over Shea, but then with the media and the players' vote, Shea actually started.
Oh, right.
So
I think that will continue.
Yeah, there's a 50-50.
Being on the best team in the West helps
he
as
should
well.
be. Okay. He should be. And yeah, the media and players respected him, even though he was 3rd by fans last year. So, yeah, Shea and Luka probably be the guys, especially because of the Warriors a little down, I guess. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Jokic is obviously one of your front court players.
109,000 billion %. He's starting.
So that's 3 guys, 2 spots left in the front court.
Do you go with the oldies? Do you play come on, Kevin Durant, the best scorer in the game, and LeBron?
Will the vote go that way? Probably.
LeBron for
the
sure.
fan vote.
Yeah, last year that's what it did. Fan vote went Jokic, Durant, and James. LeBron first. And Jokic and Durant, and that's who could easily be starting. They're not going to go all the way down to Wemby quite yet. Fans aren't going to go to Wemby, but I debate should we put Wemby in over one of these guys?
Well, okay, this is what I was thinking for those final 2 forward spots in the West. Yeah. First off, do you just reward strong team play? And if you do, you're probably looking at Şengün. You're even maybe looking at Jaren Jackson Jr., who completely gets overlooked with the Grizzlies' success. I know that's a bit of a team by committee, and John Moran is the star, but he has been awesome. Mm-hmm. So that's more of a team sort of nod. So that probably won't be how it goes. Do you go with monster number guys like Sabonis obviously on a Kings team that's like around 500. He's averaging 21, 13, and 6. He shoots like 63% from the field.
Okay.
Or do you go Old Faithfuls, Kevin Durant, LeBron James? Hell, you could even throw Anthony Davis in there, I guess, as one of like a vet guy who's been really good. He should be
respected, yeah.
Or is the future now, old man?
Yeah.
And do you go Wemby as one of those slots?
Yeah, because the numbers are ridiculously good. Do people care enough about numbers that he's averaging 24.5 on really good percentages, 10 boards, 3.5 blocks, 4 assists? He's leading the league in blocks.
This team is winning.
Yeah, they're above 500.
Like, it's different if they're like got 5 wins, 6 wins, but like they're right in the mix here.
Yeah, this is a weird thing here. Being that we're getting a little older, and do we just go by, I want to see LeBron one more time, or do you say the future is here? And they're not much worse than the Lakers. Were they a game or game and a half back? They're right there. They're only going to get better, I assume, because Wemby had a bad first few weeks of this season, and he's come around. So. I think Wemby is going to get one of these slots. Wow.
I think he's going to get a hell of a fan vote because he has a popular player.
He is. And
sort of name recognition. And then I think he's going to probably go, maybe not players yet, because there is that okay, we're going to lean towards some of these vet guys maybe over you more. But I could see the media being high on him. Wemby loved by the media.
Yeah, he did.
And deservedly.
I think the fans will say the guy started kind of slow. Like, he wasn't dominating.
Yeah,
he was not.
What have you done lately?
I don't know.
Got short-term memories, man. They can't even watch a full basketball game anymore.
Yeah, but you know what happens with votes? Like, you just see, this guy's playing really well. He could be the MVP the first month, and then you kind of forget.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, there's other players that are playing better. So I think that will factor in. But man, this is super hard.
So who would you pick?
Durant has missed time too.
Yeah.
Does that matter? I mean,
it matters.
Should.
It matters when we have 6 guys we're debating.
Yeah.
But who do you pick?
Yeah, I'm saying, Wemby, you're good. You're very good, and like LeBron got in his second year of his career. It's time. I know he'll get there anyways, most likely.
Yeah.
And when I bring up LeBron, it doesn't matter if he was starting in his second year. What matters is that you get the star beside your name, in your resume and on Basketball Reference. And I think Wemby will get that no matter what. But I'm putting Wemby in the starting lineup. You're
Where do you go with the last one?
Who do you disrespect here? I probably put Durant. I know.
They're tough to beat when he plays, but he has missed a chunk of games.
Yeah.
It's more than ever this year with this whole new mini tournament and the drafting to 3 teams. It's it really doesn't matter if you're a starter or a reserve when you think about it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure they'll have to draft from the starters first, right?
Yeah.
Kenny, Chuck, and Shaq, but there will be more starters because of the numbers of the way they're distributed to these teams.
Mm-hmm.
So someone like Wembanyama, even if he's not voted an all-star starter, could be starting for one of those teams, or LeBron, or Kevin Durant, or whoever.
Yeah.
That's sort of weird to think about.
It is going to be weird.
So it's almost what's the point of this?
Yeah, and one guy will get the last starter, it's the guy I don't want. The James Harden thing that happened.
Yeah.
It is weird. But what matters is they kind of kept the whole tradition of 24 all-stars and keep them in there. So
let's hear from you guys. Who gets your vote? And better yet, go make your vote over at NBA.com or on the NBA app. Okay, let's get to Worst of the Week.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Worst of the Week.
Usually we drop in many nominees. This week it wasn't hard. I just put in a winner. I said the Charlotte Hornets, they absolutely deserve it. They do. They had a holiday event, mid-court. Hugo the Hornet, their mascot, dressed up as Santa. He sat down in his seat. Now, they had, I'm not sure how many fans write letters to Santa, but they had some.
Okay.
And they read them on the court, the whole arena hearing. And this one kid said, I need to have a PS5 to improve my basketball jumper. And literally, Hugo the Hornet, he pulls out a PS5 to give to the kid. And we're watching it here on YouTube. But apparently, after he got the PS5 on the court, he walked off the court. He was so happy.
Yeah,
he walked off. They took it away. and they gave him a jersey instead.
Ooh.
Oh, here's what we're doing here, kid. Sorry.
This was a bit, kid.
Oh, and they didn't know. They had no idea. It's not like it was even I know what's coming, and that would be painful. Like you get to hold a PS5 box and then have to hand it back. Now, they did recover, sort of. I mean, they tried to anyways. They'll be providing that fan the actual PS5 after this whole incident.
Yeah.
And he will have a VIP experience to a future game.
Wow.
Okay,
So it worked out in the end for him.
Yeah, it sure did.
Because he got even more when you think about it.
But I couldn't believe it. We were in Vegas for the NBA Cup, and this was it Sunday or Monday night when we weren't really soaking it all in terms of all the other games.
Yeah.
And someone on Blue Sky, Booking Up, sent it to me, and I said, "That's not real.
Can't be real."
No. And then articles start coming out.
So
about
how
it.
did this catch fire? I assume the kid and his father or mother.
That. Yeah, I think his
Well, yeah, but you
uncle.
say just that, but that clip you showed me, all I'm left with thinking is the kid got a PS5.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, wow, cool.
Yeah.
It's not like they yanked it out of his hand right then and there, but when he went off the floor, thinking, oh, that's cool, I got a PS5, they're like, nah, here, just take a jersey. We're not giving you that.
Yes.
But then obviously must have made a stink enough about it, or someone in the media saw it or something, right?
Yeah, it was recorded on TV. Somebody recorded their TV, and I'm going to Blue Sky right now to figure it all out. But it was revealed pretty quickly after. And again, these articles come out.
Yeah.
Now the Blue Sky replies navigation isn't.
Oh yeah, you're gonna be scrolling and scrolling, man. Good luck.
But yeah, Booking Up, thank you for sending that to me. He immediately said, "This is your worst of the week," and you're right. We could talk about other things.
I was gonna say you showed a lot of restraint not picking the discourse around declining NBA ratings.
Ah, yes.
Which is having a moment
Yes.
right now. And you even alluded to it earlier. JJ Redick asked about it. He said, quote, "I don't think we have done a good job of storytelling, of celebrating the game. If I'm a casual fan and you tell me every time I turn on the television that the product sucks, well, I'm not going to watch the product. And that's really what has happened over the last 10 to 15 years. I don't know why. It's not funny to me." He went on to say a whole lot more, even though he joked earlier he didn't have a lot to say about it, especially being out of the podcast game and now as the head coach of Lakers. But he got to the point of the game should be celebrated. Mm-hmm. And that was sort of his take. LeBron had a whole other thing about it's the three-point shot ruining the game. And there are a million theories as to why ratings are going down, what's happening to people tuning out of NBA games and why. And I think it's a lot, obviously, of everything. It's not just one factor. But you didn't pick it. You didn't pick it because you showed some restraint. And maybe you're one of these people who are like, what are we doing here? They just signed a $76 billion deal here. Don't worry about it right now.
Yeah, there's a lot of people's feelings that come out on Twitter. Oh, they shoot too many threes. There's not really a let's dive into the game and what's become. It's a long conversation. I think it's a long one. We could have
it is.
A long,
we could do an entire
show.
podcast on it.
Absolutely.
Maybe we should have a little round table on it.
Yeah. So
talk it through, but.
So yeah, I couldn't do it. Would you? I mean, it's just
no. I think you made the right call.
Yeah.
Because I think that's a 30-minute conversation easily.
Yeah. You're talking about the game. This is a game that we have absorbed as our day-to-day for a long time. That we love the freaking game. And so you can't just say, "Oh, they shoot threes. They suck." I mean, the game is better. Like JJ Redick said, the talent is better. Everything is better around the actual play on the court. There's no doubt about that.
So why is
the
nobody
game
watching? Or why are fewer people watching?
Yeah,
right.
Fewer people watching while they signed a bajillion deal contract.
Right.
And let me just say this. Apparently, it was the best friend of the uncle of the kid who went on to Twitter. He basically put it on
There you
Twitter.
go.
He recorded the TV and said, "What the? You guys want to see a cheap sports organization? In this video, my best friend and his nephew get called onto court for a special segment where they gift the kid a PS5 publicly. With cameras off, they took it away and gave him a jersey."
See, there had to be a whistleblower.
There had to be a whistleblower.
It wasn't like the Hornets were saying, "Hey, we didn't give it to him." Okay, way to get to the bottom of it.
That's rough, though. You get a bag. You get a gift bag. There's a gift bag.
Yeah.
And then they go into the gift bag and they take out the actual item that's heavy, and then they give you a really light one.
I gotta be honest. I didn't watch the entirety of this clip. I don't know if you did. What's the gag, or what's the bit, or is it just solely it's Christmas time? Let's bring some kids out and we have their list or whatever. We know what they want. Let's give it to them. I'm really confused why Santa Hugo was even doing this like on the floor to begin with, to only take things away.
During the game, I went back and
weird.
Like just a quick break in play. So, a couple minutes.
Right.
Where he did his thing. He from what I grabbed.
But again, was there I don't know who were they playing that night? Who were the Hornets playing?
Great. Orlando, I think.
Okay, was there a Magic, was there a kid in a Magic jersey at the end, and Hugo pulls out a flaming turd, and the crowd goes, yeah, suck it, Magic kid. Okay, that's a bit. That's sort of funny.
Maybe. I didn't watch the end.
Okay. He didn't get to keep the flaming turd at the end, though, is the real ironic part of it.
Yeah,
okay.
That's a weird one.
Yeah.
That was a weird one. They apologized.
Okay, good. Okay, pick 'em. Remember that? We haven't done this in a while. Friday's game. There's not many games on tonight, but we're running out of games in December. And we have a close one between you and Esh when it comes to being last place for this month. So this is an important one, Tess.
Yeah, but I didn't pick the close line. The Thunder at Heat, as you mentioned. Thunder on a back-to-back in Florida. Not easy. So the Heat could win that one.
What was the line on that one?
I think it was 1.5.
For Miami?
Yeah.
Ooh,
I'm not sure.
Okay.
I could see what our friends at BetGM said. Yeah, Miami, minus 1.5. I had to go with the line of the Milwaukee Bucks leaving the NBA Cup and seeing how they'd react afterwards, because we saw what happened to the Lakers last year. Not so good. Now
but they celebrated in the champagne room.
That's the difference here. The Bucks did not crack any of those Michelob Ultras. They did not crack any of those champagne bottles, and none of them. They just sat there. Nothing.
Yeah.
They go to Cleveland. This is a very, very, very good team. The Cleveland Cavaliers, the line is moving. As I just went to BetMGM, we've got it at 8.5. It's now up to 9.5.
Whoa!
I guess everybody's betting on Cleveland.
We're not.
We're taking the Milwaukee Bucks. We saw them. We saw the Milwaukee Bucks and what they did. The three of us who saw them in Las Vegas.
Yeah.
Sorry, Esh couldn't be there. We got Milwaukee. We think they'll react to have a close game, but I could easily see Esh covering here. He's the only one taking the Cavs. You got to win by 9 or more. They could do it.
We'll see.
After a air quotes championship, they treated it like one. It felt like one to them.
Yeah.
I could see the Cavs taking care of business, but again, as we talked about earlier, there's some weird stuff happening in the NBA. As the Celtics lost, Suns lost at home to the Pacers, Nuggets lose to the Blazers, on and on and on and on. So who knows?
Who knows at this point of the season? This is the weird weeks here of the NBA year with the holiday season.
No Dame. Hold on. No Dame, though? I mean, the
no
stream
Dame.
team.
Was he got an illness?
The stream team is telling me
Vegas
no Dame.
hangover?
Philip A. What
took me a day, Dame?
No, is ruled out tonight against the Cleveland Cavaliers. Is it the calf that he strained in the semifinal, but he played through it in the final? It's the calf.
They're slow playing it. Oh,
looks
the calf.
like the calf. Calf is back.
Sure it was.
Sure, yeah. Now I'm going to lose this pick and payoff.
Boy.
We're going to be tied after tonight. If Cleveland covers,
they got to win by 9.
Ash and I will be tied at the bottom.
With a couple days left. Because we got obviously a weird week ourselves next week.
It's a weird one.
Won't be picking maybe every night, but we'll get into that. Before we go, though, this is the drop. Yeah, there's only 3 of us. Who cares? We're going to have some rapid-fire fun. I got the questions. You guys got the answers, and I'll play along as well. First one, earlier this week, the Phoenix Suns introduced a $2 value menu that will offer Suns fans 5 popular food and beverage items. We're talking hot dogs, chips, popcorn, fountain soda, and Dasani water. The worst water of them all, for $2 each. It's the most affordable, fan-friendly menu in the NBA. And so my question, guys, is what's something else that should cost $2 max? Doesn't have to be food related, but what's just something that you think is like way too expensive, should only be $2 max?
I think getting air in your tires is too expensive. Now, of course, it's under $2.
Yeah.
Now, but there will be a day. There will be some air inflation. Where the air providers say, "Oh, we got to pay for electricity here. We got to pump this thing." It's now like $1 or $1.25, which is too much now.
Yeah.
But it's going to go up. It's going to go over $2.
Yeah, you're right.
And I'll be fine paying $2, but not more than that to pump air in my tires, which is weird. It is weird to say that it costs
Do
money
you at
for
least
air.
get it all done, all 4 tires done in one go?
I'm pretty quick.
You're pretty quick, yeah. But you got to move with some pace.
Absolutely.
You can't dick around with that air.
Yeah.
Okay.
I
That's
mean, hopefully.
Invest in a pump.
yeah. I keep getting one on Instagram.
Yeah. Oh, the little one?
Air Moto or something.
Yeah.
You see that one?
Yeah, I have
God,
it.
it looks awesome.
Looks pretty cool. We have a little crappy one here, but
Yeah, so do I. I have
works.
one that you plug into your what's
the lighter
The
thing.
lighter, yeah.
Yeah, so do I.
But it doesn't work that well
I think
anymore.
it stopped working.
Same with mine. It worked for a while. But.
I just blow.
Okay, so you're predicting this cost.
Yeah,
it's gonna be more than $2.
One day it will.
probably right.
keep it under $2.
Yes, under
Yeah.
2.
JD,
Please.
what's your answer?
Coffee for me. I mean, I know beans are getting more expensive, climate change, all of that.
Yeah.
And I just came from Vegas, but like over $5 for a drip
coffee is
Get
ridiculous.
out of here, man. Sorry to be an old man. Back in my day, it was under $2. Yeah, so it's not that expensive. Coffee is pennies.
Yeah.
Literally pennies.
Yeah.
And
it
you're
is
and
nice.
you're even drip coffee from a place where you're just getting the cup to go. It's
Yeah.
like one thing if it's like free refills at a restaurant.
Yeah,
I mean, it's still
totally.
too much.
Yeah.
But like, okay, I could have 2 or 3 cups of this if I really want.
Exactly.
But the one cup to go.
Yeah. I mean, $7-8 for a latte. I mean, come on.
Come on. Yeah, the espresso cost $5.
Yeah.
My answer, what's something else that should cost $2 max? I'm staying in the food world. Frozen pizza. Frozen
Wow.
pizza's getting to be just
Yeah.
as expensive as fresh pizza
Right.
from a restaurant. How is that possible?
Yeah, I'll tell you how.
How?
DoorDash. It's just it's inflating the cost of pizza.
Possibly, yeah.
I think it is.
Yeah.
So McCain's is going. All right, they're going up to $20 a pizza.
Yeah.
$20 a
that's what's
pie.
happening.
Let's breach $10, guys.
Let's see
Come
what
on,
these people
for
will
that
pay
deep
for
and
this.
delicious. Yes, of course.
It's ridiculous.
You want it to be
couldn't
$2?
agree more.
$2.
$2, yes.
Yeah.
Pepperoni pizza frozen.
Yes. It's
I'm
basically
making
nothing.
it myself.
Yeah.
It's dough, cheese, pepperoni.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
I'm
package
with
it.
you.
Okay. All right, next one. The countdown is on for Dunk the Halls, the first real-time animated NBA game with Mickey and friends on Christmas. The virtual live recreation of the Spurs Knicks game will be set on iconic Main Street, USA, as the teams play. Well, Mickey, Minnie, Donald Duck, Pluto, Goofy, cheer them all on. But we see a clip here from Timothy Burke, like leaked footage of them playing. I don't know what's going on, but this is, I guess, what the broadcast might look like. I don't know if you caught it there. Mickey Mouse tried to take a charge on Goofy. Yeah, play it back here. It'll be in one of the clips coming up here. You're going to see, I think it's Mickey. Yeah, there's Mickey trying to take the charge at the three-point line and then leaving the alley-oop wide open. Pathetic defense from Mickey. Embarrassing.
Yeah. I immediately thought maybe it's just a bad computer program, like he just got in the, or he just fell, but no, he took it and got up, so he was trying to take a charge.
He was
yeah.
trying to take a charge.
Yeah.
But I want to know, which Disney character do you hope makes a Dunk the Halls cameo on Christmas for this first game? Who do you hope shows up, either plays or is just there?
Well, I'm telling you, even if you don't know about Max Goofy, he would be great. From the Goofy movie,
Yeah.
he's cool, unlike his dad, who's Goofy.
Yeah.
Boring Goofy. He's boring. Max Goofy, kids love this guy because he's cool. he's 1,000 times cooler. He could ball. I think he balled in the Goofy
he's a
movie.
hooper?
Yeah, and the soundtrack is good. Like, he could come out to lots of those movies. Eye for Eye. There's an Eye for Eye. He could talk a little trash to his opponents playing that song. So Max Goofy's got game.
Okay.
And again, the NBA loves the kids. We saw it at the NBA Cup. The co-creators, the creators, whatever they're calling the the YouTubers and everybody involved with social media, they had their own game. Max Goofy could literally play in that game. I like he's cool enough.
Yeah, my god kids were more excited to see your Jessers and Tristan Jass, Chris Londons of the world.
Yes.
I think I'm naming these guys
I
correctly.
think you hit them
But
all.
yeah.
You hit them all bank.
Yeah.
No?
No, yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
But they pop more seeing them than they do
100%.
some of the NBA players, or at least the NBA legends. So, all right, Max Goofy.
Max Goofy's got game.
He might show up.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
for
true.
sure.
Well, who are you going with, JD?
I'm going off the court, and I've got two, actually. I'm going with Zazu and Iago, okay? These are two birds from two different movies,
Oh, okay.
Iago, yeah.
and I want them on the call. I want them calling the game. Now, one, unfortunately, is played by Gilbert Godfrey, and he has passed away.
Oh.
But if in a perfect world, he would come back.
Sure.
And Zazu, played by the great Rowan Atkinson. Two diametrically different birds, you know. One's very stuffy, upper crust, and the other is, a little. They both work for royalty, but Iago is a little. He's pretty. He's a little. What's the word I'm looking for? Body humor. BAWDY.
Okay.
That was a loss for words there. Yeah. Anyway, couple of birds on the call. I think it'll be hilarious. Two of my favorite
Racy
characters.
is what you're looking
Racy,
for?
yes.
Maybe,
Racy.
dare I say rude?
Rude, 100% rude.
Okay.
One works for a villain, one works for the hero.
Right. I want to see him on the call.
I just would love the chemistry, you know? Just a good guy, bad guy.
Good. Speaking of chemistry, I want to see Chip and Dale run a high pick and roll. I want to see some nice pocket passes from those two little guys, two little rescue rangers. I mean, they'll just be, I feel like, unstoppable together. The two-man game that they have. But funny quote from that clip that we showed you from Timothy Burke. It was on Blue Sky. Somebody wrote in the comments to it or replied. This name was Matt. Quote, "Is it bad to hope for a devastating high ankle sprain in one of these games? Just to see what would happen in real time with Donald Duck writhing and glitching on the ground."
Yeah.
It made me laugh.
Yeah.
Like, we'd hope nobody gets injured.
Yeah.
Especially on Christmas of all days.
Yeah.
But it would be sort of funny to see Goofy with a bloody nose. Or like a torn ACL limping off.
Man. Even better would be like a dust up, you know, like we saw at the NBA Cup, like Hartenstein's finger, like.
Ron Holland and Jordan Clarkson squared up on each other last night. Yeah, can you imagine like Mickey and Minnie Mouse like squaring up? It'd be amazing.
The rest of them holding them back. It would be great.
Well, from
that was your favorite moment when Isaiah Hartenstein stuck his finger.
I loved it.
You loved it.
We were right there too.
Yeah, that was pretty nice.
That's the thing with that clip that Burke had. I'm still confused if the, like, okay, is Donald Duck Josh Hart? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or is,
I hear what you're saying.
Because we were seeing in that clip Brunson, Cat, Wemby, like we were seeing like cartoon versions of them.
Right.
So is every player their own cartoon version? Or are people also like, is Goofy Wembanyama? Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I don't...
I don't get it.
I think they're their own character and that the other guys are cheering, like the actual.
Because it's a real game that's happening, right? Like,
like then why in that clip that we just saw were they like
Yeah.
hooping against each other or almost with each other? I don't know.
Yeah.
We'll find out on Christmas.
I can't wait to find out.
I'm definitely tuning in.
I did at one point. I people are upset. I don't want to say I made a Max Goofy, but I did make a Goofy because his name is Max Goof. Drop the Y.
So Goofy's name is Goofy Goof?
Yeah, that's a good question.
Because he's his son, right?
Yeah, he is his son.
Wait, what's Goofy's last name then?
Yeah,
that's what I just said. Goof.
Goof. Is it really?
Goofy Goof?
I doubt it. I doubt his
I don't
name
think
is
he has a
Goofy
last
Goof.
name. I don't think Goofy has a last
Max Goof.
name. Yeah, it's definitely Max
I'll
Goof.
look up Goofy Goof.
But something you just gotta say Goofy when you start talking about him. So that's why I call him Max
I
Goofy.
guess he just has the name Goofy.
Yeah.
And like, wasn't there a whole thing like, is he a dog or is he a cow or is he something else?
Oh, right. Yeah.
There was this. I remember this once upon a time.
Right.
Anyway. Okay, Max Goof. Not Goofy.
I almost made a Max Goof.
Yeah.
Hopefully there's no injuries in that game.
Yeah, hopefully.
Or else that would be a goof. It would be funny.
Like a sprained ankle.
Well, I thought when Mickey took the charge that it was a glitch in the game.
No, I think.
Yeah, but they probably wouldn't roll you a trailer with a glitch.
I don't know where Burke even got that. Like, I looked everywhere for that exact footage. I couldn't find it anywhere. So he's hacked into the Disney system. Final one, though. Time for reflection has arrived. I want to know, what was your favorite sports moment of 2024? It doesn't need to be basketball related, but it can be, of course. What's your favorite sports moment?
Well, for me, it's watching LeBron James, because I just watched him a couple weeks ago, and it might be the final time I watch him. And what he was doing out there as a near 40-year-old man, he's only 10 days away now. He took a 3 off one leg, buried it. He, in overtime, this is a game here in year 22. He still cared enough to get back on a chase down block. He did a chase down block, nearly 40 years old. So this might be the last time I see him in person. I don't know how many
You're gonna
more.
miss him when he's gone.
Number one, yeah, it's real KOC.
Yeah, I was looking for the tweet.
Kevin O'Connor loves saying that. Just appreciate it. And I did. Thank you, KOC, for the advice. I watched LeBron in person, and it was awesome. He was so good against the Atlanta Hawks. Again, played into OT. And I don't know how many more years he has left. What do you think? Is there a chance that he does the Tim Duncan, like, just leaves at the end of the season rather than tells everybody it's my last season? Like, he could leave this season.
Sure doesn't feel like a LeBron James move.
It doesn't. But what is...
He definitely feels more like, give me the entire, like, documentary series following me around for the final year. But
I bet there are people following him around already.
Yeah,
so they're not celebrating, like, woohoo. But what else does he have left? Now he's going to become...
Played with his son.
He played with his son, exactly.
I guess play with his second son.
Wait for Bryce. Yeah. Nothing else.
Because nothing else. He just, we didn't even mention it, right? He became the all-time leader in minutes played in the regular season.
Yeah, I think it becomes this week or something.
No, he did it last night.
He did?
Yeah.
Oh.
I thought he did it last night. Pretty sure he did. He eclipsed Kareem Abdul-Jabbar.
Oh,
for just regular season, which he must already have all-time when you include the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
Incredible. That's a good answer. That's your favorite sports moment, especially seeing him in person here in the Fortress. What about you, JD?
I'm going back to the Summer of Champions, the Olympics.
Me too.
Now, these were not champions, but it was my favorite moment of the Olympics was watching the Canadian women beat the Australians in the semifinals of Rugby Sevens.
Woo!
I mean, they went on to play New Zealand, and let's be honest, they never had a chance. But I thought going into the semifinals against Australia that they wouldn't have a chance. They pulled it out, and it was emotional. It was exciting. And 2 days prior to that, I had never heard of Rugby Sevens.
Yeah. And you became a big fan.
Big fan. Like this, we became a Rugby Sevens podcast for a day.
It's true.
And it was awesome. I loved it. And I can't wait to watch Rugby Sevens again whenever it comes up.
Apparently, it's a party too, man.
Yeah.
Like we should go to like a weekend event or whatever.
Oh my God, we were planning our whole year after that one match, right? Like. And then we just kind of forgot about it. But looking back, that was my favorite sporting moment.
I thought for sure you were going to say when the guy's dong hit the pole in the pole vault.
Well, there was that.
Thought you were going to say that for sure. Very
so
funny
many
moments. I also went to the 2024 Paris Olympics as my favorite sports moment. Now, I had a blast with the whole thing. Summer of Champions, doing the pod with Nora and you for 17, I guess, consecutive nights. It was a blast. But Team USA's Steph Curry hitting 4 3-pointers in the final 2 minutes and change against France to win the gold medal. That was awesome,
incredible,
man. When he hit that 4th 3-pointer over like 2 French defenders, and he's fading away, and it was a moonshot, and it went, and then he said night-night. Oh my God, like what a game, what a great performance from the French team, and maybe those will be battles for years to come. But that was pretty damn special. So I will keep it basketball related, but Olympics as well.
Yes, and Anthony Edwards would say that as well. I mean, he said he learned a lot from Steph running off the ball.
It was awesome.
It was awesome.
And even like twice as awesome, I guess, in a way, if that is truly Steph Curry's like last like huge basketball moment. He could have a lot left in the tank still. I wouldn't want to play that guy in a postseason run, but like you never know, right?
Yeah.
They've struggled to get out of like play-ins and stuff like that. And like sort of speaks to LeBron too. Like you have to be on a good team to continue to give us huge moments in the postseason. So if that was like his sort of swan song, what a way to go out. And Steph's like first Olympics too. Like oh my God, and they don't win it without him.
Absolutely not.
In those last couple games.
No, that's a good pick. I'm glad you picked it.
let's hear from you. Favorite sports moment of 2024? Favorite no dunks moment of 2024? Let us know in the comments. Have some fun with it. We will be back next week for some weird shows. Again, a lot of the guys heading to Toronto, heading to the islands. We got TK up in Chicago, but we'll have a few podcasts. I'll be there on Monday with JD, sort of recapping the weekend. There's a lot of games on Saturday. And then I'm planning on doing with Esh sort of a post-Christmas Day recap. Hopefully the games are good. Hopefully I can talk about Mickey Mouse taking a shot to the groin. Does he even have a groin? I don't know. But we'll get into all that. We'll do a little Christmas Day recap on the 26th. So you'll have a few podcasts next week in the No Dunks feed. You should hit the like button here on YouTube. You should subscribe. And you should leave us a 5-star rating and review. That should be your Christmas gift to us, if you haven't already. Yeah. Also, if you're a Survivor fan, we did our final No Buffs episode for Survivor 47 yesterday. Myself, JD, Trey, Nora, recapping episode 14, the finale, the after show. We had a lot of fun, and it was a great season. Thanks to everybody that checked that out. Hey, if you want to go over and subscribe to No Buffs too on YouTube, that'd be huge. We're getting very close to 5K. Yeah, that's right. So go check that out if you're a Survivor fan. Otherwise, boys, you guys have safe trips. You drive safe, you fly safe. Take lots of Instagram photos. I want to see a bunch of snow in Canada. I want to see a beautiful beach or swim up bar looking good, hopefully in Jamaica. Give me something.
Shout out Cam Stewart.
Yeah. Because I'll just be here, guys. I'll be living through you. So let's see those photos of eggnog and rum, I guess, in your case. I don't know.
Sure.
What's going to be your drink of choice?
Being in Jamaica,
rum would be a good one in Jamaica.
Yeah.
The pure rum. Blackstrap molasses rum. You ever had that? That's good.
Yeah. That's very good. Anyway, you guys have a safe and happy holidays. You as well out there. Till next time, Clipper Bro.
You heard it here first. Have a great time. Turn up. Love you guys. Awesome.
Thanks for joining us. And remember, live life like there's only 50,471 minutes left to live. That's LeBron James. And how many minutes he's played? I went and checked. 57,471.
Was I right? Did he do it last night?
Yeah, he did it last night. Yeah, so I just wanted to confirm and say live every minute. It felt weird coming out of my mouth. Live every minute like there's only... you want to say live every moment. Yeah, I take it all back. Live every moment like there's 50,000. Live every moment like there's 57,471 minutes to live. That feels weird, you know? So one day you're only going to have 56,000 minutes left. Think about that for a second.
That fridge magnet quote needs a little bit of work. We will get there with that one. Embrace the weekend, people. We'll see you on Monday. Take care.